Hey, what's up, y'all? I do first want to say I really do apologize for not uploading any videos for the last 3 weeks. I've been just going through such a massive burnout and just been in a desert of content I can't make. And I don't want to post something that doesn't meet my standards, and I feel like it would just disrespect y'all, right? If I don't put out content that I personally would watch or enjoy, why would I post it for y'all to watch, right? But today I want to talk about where I've been and of course the future of what I want to make for content. So first thing I want to say is I want to talk about Tower Fantasy and Tower Fantasy versus Genshin. Is Tower Fantasy going to kill Genshin? Okay. So first, I played through Tower Fantasy's beta for I think it was about 2 months that it was out. I actually don't remember, but I very much enjoyed Tower Fantasy beta. I thought it was amazingly fun. I thought it was just fantastic. But I remembered that, of course, I can't really make a lot of meaningful content on a beta because it could potentially not be in the actual global game, right? So yes, I very much enjoyed the beta. All I could really say was I love this game. I thought it was so much fun. I can only really recommend it and say it was fun. But with Genshin, of course, I've been playing since 1.2. I've been playing for almost 2 years now, and I of course love Genshin. Genshin is the reason why I started making content, right? It's the reason why I started streaming and make YouTube videos on it and helping you guys with guides or whatever I'm doing. But I just know every time I was streaming, it was just constantly just repetitive content that I was just making that I didn't enjoy making. But one thing is that even though as much as I want to grow, other than playing just Genshin, so I've been really waiting for Honkai's new games, Honkai Star Rail and ZZZ. I was like, yo, these games are going to be so good. I can't wait so I could actually play it and make content for y'all. Or just hopefully Genshin were to make something new. But now that Tower Fantasy has come out, I just want to say I'm not quitting Genshin. I'm still going to make Genshin content, of course, but I definitely want to make Tower Fantasy content. And I think right now Tower Fantasy has been received very well, right? The Genshin versus Tower Fantasy. Is Tower Fantasy the Genshin killer? That is one thing that a lot of people are questioning or just saying. And I don't think Tower Fantasy is going to kill Genshin, because Genshin's already basically dead already. It has been dry on content forever. And as many times as people like, oh, the story's really good, the events are fun and all that, that will hold you, like, a game putting out an event that lasts a week and you can finish that event if you waited a whole week for it all to come out, you can finish it in a day, maybe 2 or 3, and some events you can finish in 10 minutes. Genshin is not fun right now. It hasn't been fun for a very long time. I do think a lot of content creators may understand that. That's why we're jumping on Tower Fantasy, because it is a brand new game and exciting. But I do just want to now talk about Tower Fantasy and what I personally view the game, okay? So Genshin is right now not fun, but Tower Fantasy is, because of not just because it's a new game, but what it does offer. Tower Fantasy offers a lot of generosity as a gacha game. It is a gacha open world MMORPG, but it actually has so many things. Like, comparing it to Genshin specifically, not speaking bad about Genshin, I'm just comparing it. Genshin does lack a lot, and if you are one who is realistic, Genshin lacks a lot, and we have probably like hundreds of reasons why Genshin does suck at a lot of things. But Tower of Fantasy kind of has a lot of those issues Genshin does have. Actually, no, Tower of Fantasy fixes a lot of Genshin's problems in their game. So what I mean by that is, Genshin has a lot of bad multiplayer content, has a lot of the gacha problems, right? How expensive it is, like basically no generosity. Tower of Fantasy, you can play complete free-to-play friendly. It is complete free-to-play friendly. And yes, PvP could be pay to win and whatever. That doesn't matter. Most of the content in Tower of Fantasy is PvE and just multiplayer content with your friends. That is a lot of the content in Tower of Fantasy, and to where at that point you can just play whoever you want and who you think is fun, right? And that's kind of how you should enjoy Tower of Fantasy. Play who you like and play what you like, and that is how you find fun in games, right? Is playing how you like. If you are a meta specific person who likes to play for meta strength and all that, of course play that. But then you do have to recognize that some people don't care about meta at all and just want to have fun and chill and be a more casual gamer. And like me, I'm only going to be playing or really pulling or using characters that I really enjoy. Unless if I'm going into PvP, maybe I'll think like, oh, maybe I should use her instead of him, because he probably fits in this situation, whatever. But Tower of Fantasy does have a lot of generosity. You get a lot of free summons for just logging in. You get, I believe it's like 3 to 4 multis worth, or just pre-installing the game or just logging into the game for the first time. It's really generous. And the difference with Genshin also is with Genshin's exploration. If you 100% a region, or 100% like monetarily or whatever, you don't get anything. If you 100% the chasm, you don't get anything. You just get, oh, when you zoom out the map, it says 100%. Cool, but you don't get anything. Only thing that does is sentimental value. Or Tower of Fantasy, every time you go up a certain percentage in exploration, you get rewards. You get crystals. You get an outfit, some other materials and summons. And also, while exploring, in order to build up exploration, you find chests. You do ruins that you can do single player. You go ahead and find summons just in the wild. You just run around and you'll see like white dots on your map, and those are summons that you can summon on the black nucleus or gold nucleus band to get characters. Genshin doesn't have that. Genshin doesn't have meaningful exploration where Tower of Fantasy does. You can explore the world and get summons to pull for characters. I think that in itself is just insane. It's just insane. And not only that, one very big problem with Genshin specifically is there's multiple banners, right? But the problem with the multiple banners is that they're just so expensive. Genshin has a 50-50 and a hard pity, of course, and of course a guaranteed. But both hard, if you lose your 50-50 and then you have to reach a guaranteed, you're going to be pulling about 100+ pulls to guarantee a character. You can be doing 100 to 180 pulls to just guarantee one 5-star. Keep in mind, there are also constellations in the game. There's C6. So if you really think about it, you're doing almost 600 to 1,000 pulls to potentially guarantee a C6 5-star. That in itself is just absurd. No free-to-play player can get that. It's basically unobtainable. And not only that, with the weapon banner on Genshin, you have the chance of losing 2 50-50s, and you have to reach another pity to guarantee your weapon. You're getting, if you are really unlucky, you're really losing or pulling for 3 5-star characters, equivalent of a C2 character. No free-to-play player can get that other than getting lucky. Whereas Tower of Fantasy, when you pull a 5-star before your pity does not reset. So let me explain that. Your pity on Tower of Fantasy is a total of 80. 80 is your hard pity, and then after you pass 80, it will reset back to 0. Classic gacha game, right? But when you pull a character at, let's say, 70 out of 80 pity, your next tempo at 80 will be a 5-star. If you are 60 in the pity, and then you pull, get a 5-star at 70, it doesn't reset. You will still get one at 80. That is insane. That is insane. Even better terms, if you get a 5-star at 79 out of 80, you will do a single and get another 5-star at 80. That is just ridiculous to me. I love that. That is so much more generous than Genshin. And not only that, on your first rotation of your pity, when you first start the game, of course you'll be 0 out of 80, and that's going to be your first rotation for your pity. Between 0 and 80, you're going to be able to get 3 5-stars. Between 1 and 30, you will get a 5-star. At 70, you will get a 5-star, and of course at 80, at hard pity, you will also get another 5-star. But don't worry, that's just specifically the Gold Nucleus banner, but the actual event banner, because with Tower Fantasy it's split into 3 banners. There's the Gold Nucleus banner and the Black Nucleus banner. Both of those are basically like standard banners for Genshin, but with Gold Nucleus there is a pity, and the Black Nucleus banner there isn't a pity. And I actually find that perfectly fine. The Gold Nucleus banner is a lot more hard to get. With a Black Nucleus banner, you get a lot of it. You get a lot of Black Nucleuses from exploration. And a lot of people were complaining that there's no pity. But if there was a pity in the Black Nucleus banner, you know how broken that would be? And a little bit similar to Genshin, that there is also a duplicate system. Of course, with Genshin, there's constellations, and we all know how expensive that can be. Getting basically 7 copies of a 5-star / SSR or whatever is going to be really, really expensive. And alongside even 4 stars too. 4 stars are never guaranteed, so getting those are just even worse. With Tower of Fantasy, you can of course basically guarantee getting constellations and dupes because you can just buy them, right? But when you get basically equivalent of C3 5-star in Tower Fantasy, you unlock a skin, and I think that's so cool for customized purpose because it changes the weapon and it also changes the character aesthetically. And I think it's just really, really cool that Tower Fantasy has that. It's just more customized like kind of stuff, nothing really like more or less like something you should be aiming for, but getting like those constellations does also increase power, right? And it is also nice, but it's nothing like you should be super wailing for. Of course, Genshin, you could be spending $1,000+ almost, and you can't, and it will take just forever and so much money. For Tower of Fantasy, I know friends who are completely free to play still, have not spent a single dime, and have like basically equivalent of a Constellation 4 5-star in Tower of Fantasy already. That's actually insane. Some people already almost have a C6 5-star in Tower of Fantasy and are completely free to play. So yes, it is just so much easier to build what you want and get what you want. And I just think Tower of Fantasy excels so much in that. Now, one thing I really do like about Tower of Fantasy is with the dupe system as well, alongside with kind of the friendship system. So as we all know, that I did tell you guys about, is that like getting dupes in this game is pretty easy, right? And it's not as, I guess, suffocating as Genshin's dupe system. Getting multiple constellations for a 5-star is just so expensive and just really hard, but it's really easy with Tower Fantasy. And I do really like that with Tower Fantasy you unlock skins, and I'm going to probably show it on screen in just a second, but you unlock a lot of cool skins and you don't necessarily have to play again as these characters. If you pull King, Crow, or whoever, don't have to play as them. You can play as your own original character with the weapon archetype, and I really do like that. And there's no negatives or benefits or whatever from playing your own OC or playing the character that you pulled. You can play whoever you want. You get that own free choice, and I really do like that. And with the friendship system, you just essentially you give them gifts that you obtain via the shops and other cool little side things in the world. You feed them or you give them the gifts, they build friendship, and when you get friendship points, you actually unlock some little buffs. And I do like that. Unlike Genshin, where friendship is just pointless other than getting a name card, when you build friendship on characters, you get buffs, and I really do like that. Little side things like that really make a small difference in Tower Fantasy, and I do like that there's so much customization, right? There's just a lot of free pick. You get so much freedom with Tower Fantasy, and I don't know, I just don't feel that with Genshin either. So I don't know, I just think Tower Fantasy excels a lot where Genshin lacks, and that's kind of where I'm falling off of Genshin, is that like this Tower Fantasy has very similar things to Genshin, but also has so many things that are different that make it so much better than Genshin right now. Again, it's really early to say right now that, oh, Tower Fantasy is just infinitely better than Genshin. Of course, we're only in the first maybe week or two of playing this game, but I do want to stay with this game, Tower Fantasy, for a long time to see how well it can grow, because this could be one of the best MMORPGs that we could get in a very long time. And I just think that Tower Fantasy excels a lot, and it's really fun. The story is actually pretty cool too. Really cool characters, and I'm not going to talk about the CN characters that we don't have yet, and that's gonna be also for future videos. I'm not going to talk about any characters that have not released on NA, just to make it easier for myself and keep it memorized. I won't talk about any character that isn't released on NA, just to make it a little bit easier for the NA frogs that also watch my videos, because there are, obviously, if you guys didn't know, there are characters in CN on the CN server that we don't have yet, and I mean, it is what it is, but also like, I mean, I guess, right, because I'm pretty sure it did release in China first before it released to us, but again, I don't care too much, right? So for future content, I'm not gonna, similar to Genshin, I won't talk about leaks, I won't talk about anything that isn't just in the game for me right now. So I'm only going to be talking about in the moment type stuff. So when I talk about 5 stars, which I probably will talk about in the future for future videos, I won't talk about anything that isn't in the game yet. There are obviously some characters that you guys may know who play the game that we don't have yet. Again, I'm not going to talk about them, okay? I'm only going to be talking about in-game currently usable characters on NA server, okay? Just want to quickly say that. But I think I have talked long enough about Tower Fantasy versus Genshin. I am a little bit sorry about how long this video is, and I have been talking too much probably, but if you guys have stuck all the way through for this video, I really do appreciate you for just hearing my thoughts. Do I think Tower Fantasy is going to kill Genshin? No. Do I think Genshin is, I guess, dying? Not really, because I mean, they're still making so much money, and they're going to continue making so much money. But where I sit right now, Genshin is really boring and dead, so I'm gonna play a different game, which is Tower Fantasy, which is a lot of fun, very generous, it's overall very exciting. But I think I will now wrap it up here for this video. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And if you guys want to stay tuned for more future content on Tower Fantasy, make sure to press those post notifications so you guys are always notified when I do upload. But I will now be signing off. Thank you all for stopping by, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.